We are live. How can I get a paid caregiver through the Medicaid LTSS program? Well, look, if that's your only question, stick around to the end and I'm sure you're going to get all that and more. Plus, I got a couple surprises for y'all today. 1,000. What's up? How y'all doing today? My name is Kion Church. A lot of people like to call me Mr. KC. Y'all already know me. What do? We help financially challenged family members to become paid caregivers through the Medicaid LTSS program. Uh, you know, the reason why we do that, we believe that if you helping other people, you need to get paid. All right. So look, we came on here to talk about how to get a paid caregiver today. And I got a special guest that wanted to join me because she says she knows a lot about being a caregiver, number one, and a lot about how to get a caregiver, number two. So if y'all like to welcome her to the stage, Director Ivy, how you doing today?
Welcome, Mr. KC. I am well. Thank you for having me on today.
I'm
Hi,
glad to
everyone.
make it. They were asking for you. Really, I really only think they stuck around with me this long to get to you. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I'm here. You got what you asked for.
Yeah, they wouldn't believe me. I'm like, just trust me. She gonna be here. She gonna be here.
Absolutely.
So just for the people who don't know, tell the people who you are. I don't know, tell the people what you do, anything else you like to share with them, anything.
Absolutely. Well, I am Crystal Ivy, aka Director Ivy, aka about to be something else, So we're gonna look forward to that as well. Stay tuned, for that. You all will definitely be seeing more of me. But yeah, I come with about 25 years of healthcare experience from infants on up to geriatrics and everybody in
Forgot about
between. Yeah, so I do have a wealth of knowledge. I come with some good little golden nuggets and some other things that I'm gonna be happy to share with y'all today and every day going forward.
I forgot about the kids, because you did that for a long time too.
Yeah, had a daycare, absolutely.
Hospice. Now you doing in-home care. You're a very well-rounded individual.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Hey,
God has really blessed me.
you got a nice smile. You're not really hard to look at either. You know what I mean?
Well, thank you. Hopefully that'll attract people and bring them in
Yes,
as well.
yes. So
Yes,
it's definitely working out. It's definitely
yes,
working out.
absolutely.
And for the people who don't know me, or this may be your first time, I don't know. We do this regular, but I've been working hand in hand with this lady for over a decade. Changed my life and has changed hundreds of other people's lives. Getting care, people who needed care, and I just seen her touch a lot of other people in the middle. So very blessed to have this lady on with us today. If y'all got any questions, feel free to put them in the comments. Like the video. You know what I'm saying? Share this thing. If you're watching this on YouTube, we really love you because we got some nice fans on YouTube. They really cool. They comment, they share. I'm saying that because it's some other people here that's not on there. You know what I mean? So we in a couple places right now live. So I'm gonna need y'all to act like man. Violate them buttons if y'all on YouTube. Hashtag live if you hear what is in the live. Hashtag rebroadcast if you hear what is in the rebroadcast. Hashtag Director Ivy. Hashtag pink shirt. Do what you gotta do. Let's go.
Let's do it. What questions do y'all have? Put them in the chat. I'm ready for you.
I got a question.
Yes.
People always ask me, and I swear to God, they ask me the same question. I don't know if they're listening or not, but now that you here, you can probably break it down to them.
Okay.
How do people get a paid caregiver?
Well, a lot of it starts with your insurance. So it is important for you to be in the long-term care program with Medicaid if you want to use your insurance. We do offer private pay options as well. So if you're interested even in private pay, give us a call. We're happy to share that. I'm with you as well. But for the Medicaid part, yes, you need to be in long-term care Medicaid with either Highmark Health Options, AmeriHealth Caritas, or Delaware First. So if so, you need to make sure you have the long-term care benefits. From there, you can give them a call, find out who your case manager is. If you have long-term care, you should already be in contact with your case manager because they should have already come out and done some assessments and some other things, but if not, find out who your case manager is. We can do those things for you. We're happy to, get the ball rolling for you, but it is very important for you as the client to be informed, as well, because a lot of people don't even really understand the benefits that they have available to them. Just get this insurance. Typically you go to the doctors, you don't pay the copay. You go, pick up prescriptions, you don't pay the copay, but there's way more to it. So yeah, as a consumer, as a client, you want to be informed, but it definitely, in order to get a paid caregiver, it starts with your insurance, and then get us the referral. And once we get the referral, I have a wonderful team in the office that will give you a call. One of our quality coordinators or one of our intake specialists, will get you on the phone, get your assessment, and get you rocking and rolling with the paid caregiver as well. We have our own knowledgeable staff that goes out and supports people, but we're also very, very happy to maybe support your household even in a more positive way and hire one of your family members or one of your close friends or, somebody that you respect and appreciate to come in and take care of you as well. And why not get compensated for it? It's a win-win for everybody, right?
Absolutely. Is my stuff backwards? I don't know if my camera right.
No.
Yours looks right. Is mine backwards?
Well, that's because we're looking at now because I can see yours clearly. Yeah.
Okay.
So we're looking at each other, right? Mine looks backwards this way as well.
Okay, listen. I'm going crazy. I'm like, listen, you're doing an excellent job. And look, I want to shout out my buddy Fred. My buddy Corey. I'm just looking at his note. I saw this dude, good dude. I met him in Home Depot, and he recognized me from the internet. And I said,
nice.
wow. And every week, I swear to God, he calls me. He like, yo, man, you think you can help my brother out? Yo, you think you can help my cousin out? Yo, and it's like, yo, so we doing big things, man. So I want to shout out the people that's actually
high five, Corey. And you know what, Corey, you may not be a caregiver yourself, you may not even be a client yourself, but you can still get a referral bonus just for bringing those people on, because we appreciate you too. We appreciate everyone that is connected, with Reliable Aid, whether it's a referral, whether it's the client, whether it's the caregiver, whether it's the MCOs, which are the insurance companies, whether it's the case managers, everyone plays a part in the success of administering care to a client, whether even it's our office and staff. So yeah, shout out to everybody.
How about that? Look, I hate to cut you off, but I told a guy on the phone the same thing, and he said, you know what? It takes a village. I said, yes, it does.
That part.
Yes, it does.
Yes.
Yes, it does. What's up, Zach? I got a plumbing thing going on right now, man, but we multitasking. We here. You know what I'm saying? We got to be with the people. Look, we're going to be here every day. And listen, I promised that I wouldn't do this, but I'm going to ask you in front of everybody. Do you think you can meet me here at 12 o'clock every day? I'm just asking, you know what I mean?
I am going to meet you every day. Now, maybe the timing might be a little bit off because, I am still multitasking, as well. Okay. But yes.
I think they'll wait around for me if you're going to be with me.
Amen. Well, let's do it. We got a date every day. Okay. Yes, absolutely. Okay.
We got a comment.
Sometimes that is a possibility. It depends on what type of felony, because we do have some people on our staff that are convicted felons, and we believe that everybody deserves a second chance. I know that I've talked to people and they were skeptical about getting their background checks done, but a lot of that is too determined by the background check center, the BCC, and Florida may be a little bit different, than Delaware, but, it is something that is worth looking into. And, we've had people's background check come back and yes, they are still eligible to work. I think it depends on what type of felony, how long the felony, has been, but, you may want to do just a smidgen more research. But I know if you up here in Delaware, you can have a felony and be a paid caregiver. Absolutely.
Awesome. And just to run it back at Fred 2432, can a person with a felony be a paid caregiver? I'm in Florida. So she already gave you that. Now, I'm gonna just put my little spin on it. You know what I'm saying? What she said is absolutely right. Now, Medicaid is Medicaid in all 50 states. So I'm assuming what works in Delaware is going to be what works in Florida, but that's ultimately the decision of those people down there. You know, we're in the Northeast, sometimes it's a little more lax, but I think it's Medicaid is universal. So what I would tell you is if they try to give you a hard time and not let you be a caregiver, talk to another agency, you know, because sometimes people are so stiff at the front door that they don't want to let any wiggle room in, and they feel like, hey man, I don't know, and they don't even want to mess with that.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna tell you another secret, because I got convicted of a felony and was a paid caregiver.
Absolutely.
You remember Barry? You remember our first client, Mr. Barry? Brown Barry. Shout out to Barry. Rest in peace.
Yes, rest in peace.
My first client, our first client, we had put before Reliable Aid had got licensed, we was kind of like putting a plan together. What happened was, I don't even know if I told you the story. You know parts of it, but I don't know if I told you the whole thing. What happened was my parents had needed some help and I had to move back home to help them, right? So I'm suffering because I can't go out and get no money. I can't make that change yet because I'm stuck in the house all day.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So now it's like, what I'm going to do. So I'm thinking like, wow, you can get paid to be a caregiver. I'm caring for 2 people. You know what I'm saying? It's 3 of us. 3 people can't even eat on one income. It's really hard. You know what I mean? Y'all eating noodles every day. Right. So I figure out what to do, and it don't work because my parents don't have the right insurance, and it was too late because they needed it right now. It was too late for them to get the right insurance. You know what I'm saying? So what I figured out was, all right, it ain't gonna work for me. But my buddy Barry had needed some help, and like me and him used to work together. You know what I'm saying? So I used to pick him up. The boss used to ask me, yo, pick him up. Now it was the boss's car I was driving. So pick Barry up. All right, he lives next to me. Pick Barry up every day, man. You know what I mean? He paying for the gas, whatever. So, you know, Barry didn't walk too far. You know what I'm saying? So wherever Barry need to go, I was Barry's like personal. Yeah. But I got a free car out the deal. You know what I mean? What you're saying all that to say, like, I was really his caregiver.
Yes.
So when he got sick and he really needed a care, like he don't just need his friend driving around. Now he really needs something.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? So it was like, yo, I know how you could get a paid caregiver. Like you ain't even got to pay him. And he was like, how? And I was like, because that's my best friend. I know all his insurance. I don't know his insurance, like, but I know who you got.
Right.
Like, hey, man, boom, we could tell your case manager, and she'll pay me to be a caregiver. And we ain't got to change nothing. I'm already doing the job.
There we go.
You know what I mean? We can just get paid from it. So Reliable Aid wasn't in existence at this time. So we used this holiday animal company. They really suck. They suck. Hashtag live. You hear with me in the live. Hashtag rebroadcast. If you with me in the rebroadcast. Boom. I put Barry on to the company. And the lady from the company called up and was like, yo, you know, your boy got XYZ on his background.
Wow.
Like, you don't want to hire this dude. And she told him. That's why I'm saying to the dude in Florida, Fred, look, it's definitely 100% the company that you with. You know what I mean? Some people will deal with it, some people won't. And the guy that I brought Barry to the service, he didn't know nothing about them, and she still gave me a hard time. Like she didn't want me to help the man out.
Yeah.
So, make a long story short, you know, we went somewhere else. We did our thing, but that's what it is in a nutshell.
Yep. And too, I want to add to that. You know, whether you're in Florida, whether you're in Delaware, it doesn't really matter. You know, do a little bit of research. You know, and because sometimes case managers get comfortable with just certain agencies, you know what I mean? The holiday, you know, agencies and some of these other ones. And, you know, but you have choice. You know, they should be offering you at least three different options for, you know, home care agencies to provide you some services.
Right.
And But if you already have reliable aid in mind and you know that that's who you want to go with, it doesn't matter who else they throw at you. You just let them know, I choose reliable aid,
Absolutely.
and and they have to honor that. Don't let them bully you into the agency that they think
That's really what they do.
with. Yeah, yeah,
That's really what they do.
absolutely, absolutely. So
Hashtag live. You here with us in the live. Hashtag
yeah,
rebroadcast. If
yeah,
you in with us on a rebroadcast. Cousin Rob
absolutely.
say good afternoon, Director
Good
Ivy.
afternoon, cousin Rob. I see Destiny Singleton hashtag live.
Hashtag live. Hey,
Absolutely,
Cousin Rob, I got a
absolutely.
question for you, man. Do you remember the brown bomber, Big Barry? You know what I mean? If you remember Big Barry, put it in the comments. You know what I mean?
Yes, yes, yes. Uh-oh, we have another question. Stacy Clark Black.
You
Do
have to
you
have prior experience to be a caregiver.
well, it's always good, especially if it's a non-family member, because you never know, what you may encounter. Sometimes, people, if you're a non-family member and you're going to be a caregiver, we may, as our agency, we always let you know upfront what the responsibilities of the client is. So you just may be light companionship, housekeeping and some meal prep. But as time goes on, because we have clients that have been on service for like 6 and 7 and 8 years, we rock out like that, and over time their needs change. So if you're only used to being a companionship, or doing companionship and light housekeeping, this client could now need some care. This client could now need help with transferring from the bed to the chair or the car. So it is good to have some experience. I know at our agency we do training, so I think the biggest experience that you need to have is patience, understanding, knowing who your client is, having that discernment, understanding that every day may not be a good day. Every day is not the same day. What they needed last week is maybe not what they need this week. So, those are the things that really, really matter and qualify, and that I know we look for, when we're hiring, direct care workers. You can be taught how to transfer somebody. You can be, taught maybe even how to fry some eggs, because, YouTube and TikTok and all these platforms, teach you all of this kind of stuff. But to be patient, to be understanding, to be caring, to be supportive, those things are innate. You can't really teach those things. You either have them or you don't. And I've even shared with people, sometimes family caregivers, I've shared, maybe it's just time for you to be the daughter and not the caregiver. Maybe it's just time for you to be the wife and not the caregiver, because it can become very overwhelming when you're trying to play both roles, and they're hard to manage and separate, because you want your client to get up and be movable, but you also want your mom to get up and move around and do things. But realistically, your mom might can't do that today. Your mom might can't do that tomorrow, but as the son or the daughter, you're saying, come on, mom, come on, mom. But as the caregiver, if the client says, I don't want to do that, you can't force them to do that, so those boundaries become very difficult. And when you find yourself clashing like that with a family caregiver, then it's time for you to play the family part, and let us bring somebody else in, where you can just give your family member that love that they need, and let us support them in a different manner. But and that's why we come out. That's why we do those assessments. We have wellness coordinators that come out, or call people on the phone, because caregivers need that support too. And those are some of the things that we offer that, a lot of other agencies do not.
Hashtag live if you're here in the live. Hashtag rebroadcast if you're in the rebroadcast. If you're watching this thing on YouTube, you got to hit the subscribe button, or you'll never know when Director Ivy goes live. I'm trying to tell y'all what to do. If you're not watching this thing on YouTube, make sure you go over there, subscribe to the channel. You know what I'm saying? I think we got like a whole lot of stuff over there for them to see. All kind of plethora of topics on man.
Yeah. And even if you have a specific topic, that we haven't talked about, hashtag put that in there because we want to help you.
Right.
We have a lot of information, but sometimes there may be a question that we haven't answered or a topic that we haven't brought up. So we want to make sure that we're out there supporting everybody.
That's right. Cousin Rob says he said, man, Barry was a genius, man. He was able to bring any thought or idea to life. He was great at catching your vision and developing a blueprint to move forward with it.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, he was.
He said
Barry designed some stuff for us.
Barry designed all our stuff. Barry designed everything.
Yes.
Barry got us in business. Like Barry.
Yeah. He put us on the map.
I don't know what happened with this live.
Well, thank God we don't have to find out.
Said Miss Ivy, I heard a lot of great things about you. You are very professional at what you do. You are the glue for reliable aid. You have a great way of simplifying the process and so much more. I just want to say thank you. Hey, man, that was nice.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
It was nice. Look, man, I don't know. You better subscribe, man, because I find out you're not a subscriber. We're going to delete all your comments. We're going to think you was lying.
That part. Don't talk about it, be about it, okay?
That's right. I thought we had another one. It says funny. We're gonna go with funny. If a person is on disability, can they still get paid to be a caregiver? You want to handle that?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm here. Okay, this is what I'm here for, right? This will be my show. So yeah, I'm going to answer all the questions. But yes.
They don't know you, but you wouldn't have it any other way. They don't know right now, but they will.
That's right. You don't know, you will know.
Trust me.
You're about to find out. But yes, you can. It obviously depends on your disability, but being on disability, you can only make but so much money, and agencies can't pay under the table and all of that good stuff. We got to be above board, so you can, but you probably wouldn't be able to get the full benefit, or really your client wouldn't be able to get the full benefit, or maybe your client is willing to, say, the client gets 40 hours a week, but you, in order to stay underneath that threshold where you can't make over a certain amount before your disability gets cut off, maybe you can split the hours. You could talk to your client and say, hey, I could do 15 of these hours, and maybe the other person can do the 25 hours, so there's ways. But again, it's all about the agency, that you're working with, because I know me personally, I think outside the box. I am not a traditional thinker, so I think beyond what I can see, because I want to figure out how to help everybody. Sometimes I just can't, but I do think about that. Like, how can we make this work? But if the agency that you're working with does not think out the box, if they're just that cookie cutter, and they're not about that life, then that is not going to work for you. Absolutely. At funny, please.
Hashtag live if you with me in a live. Hashtag rebroadcast if you with me in a rebroadcast. If you here with me live, let me know. Are you a caregiver? Do you need somebody to take care of you? Have you ever been a caregiver? Also hashtag your city, hashtag your state. Let me know where you watching this from. You know what I mean? I'll put my spin on it. You know what I mean? Because we got the same spin. Sometimes it's just, you know what I mean? So if a person is on disability, can they get paid to be a caregiver? And I'm not even going to say anything different. What she said is 100% right. You know what I mean? But what I want to tell people is this. This is a real job. It's really regulated by the state of Delaware. They really want you to have a background check, a drug screen. They really want you to have physical. They really want you to have a 2-part TB,
PPD, yes.
test. it's a couple things that they really want you to have, because this is really a legitimate job, and the state pays us.
Yeah.
You know? So like, I really don't care what you do. You know what I mean? But it may not work out for you if you the kind of person that's like, oh, I'm trying to get me a couple extra dollars. Like, this ain't no hustle.
Correct.
You know, we're gonna give you a real check. They're gonna take real taxes out of it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Real wage, even though you got the comfortability of working, you know, like if you like me, you was at your mom and dad house, you know, you got, you know, so it ain't even really like work,
right?
But you know, it's real. So you know,
absolutely,
it depends on your intentions. If you just trying to supplement your income, and boom, you could get you a little 15-20 hour job and still keep your check, put some money in your pocket, because we got a few people that's like that.
You know what I mean? And that's what I said too. It depends on the disability, you know, because it depends on what you can do, you know, because at the end of the day, like I say, even though, you know, you may only be doing companionship today, you know, you might have to pick somebody up. And if you on disability because you got a bad back and can't move, then this may not be, you know, for you, because you have to be ready to do it, even if you don't do it. You know, I have a motto: when you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready. You know what I mean? So, you know, that's important. You got to be ready and able to do it, even if it's not something structured that you would typically do every day. You know, and this is, you know, like Casey said, this is a real, you know, job with real people's lives at stake.
And I say real job. You ever hear that commercial? If you got a real job, paycheck job, you can get a car. Like, this is a real job.
Yeah,
you know
absolutely.
Yeah, people be thinking like, nah, man, I don't know what you was thinking. Like, Medicaid is a real company. Like, we are a Medicaid service provider.
Yeah. And Medicaid is associated with each state. And, you know, the state does not play. The state doesn't, you know, they have very strict guidelines. And if we're not following them as any agency, then we're not getting paid. And if we don't get paid, then you can't get paid. You know, so it's important, you know, it's full circle. You know, everybody has to play their part to the best of their ability with the right intentions, because at the end of the day, we're here to make a difference in somebody else's life. If you're not here to make a difference in somebody else's life, then this may not be the profession for you. You know, that just may be something you want to rethink, you know, because we are here to help people.
That's right.
We can't solve problems. But we can make their life a little bit easier. And sometimes we do solve problems, you know, because we talk to people, you know, we get to know them, you know. Again, that's one of, you know, our wellness coordinators, you know, when they go out, you know, we're getting to know these people. Our quality coordinators, when they go out and do these 90-day assessments, you know, we're getting to know these people. We're developing a relationship with them. They're not, you know, our clients are not just a number. They're not just a paycheck. They're real people with real lives. And we want to support the caregiver just as much as we support the client. That's why we talk to y'all too, you know, because a good caregiver and a healthy caregiver makes a better day for the client.
Absolutely. We got a question. Destiny Singleton: I have Medicare. Can I have a paid caregiver?
Through some agencies, you would have to refer back to your to Medicare and ask them for a list of agencies that coincide, you know, and that are credentialed, you know, with Medicare. Not all home care agencies are credentialed and licensed with Medicare, which means you would either have to pay out of pocket for a caregiver, or you would have to find an agency that's licensed and credentialed with Medicare in order to receive those services. You can even have home care and hospice. You know, you can do both. You know, they can't be in a house at the same time doing the same function, you know, but you can have both.
Let me ask you a question. If it's Medicare and they got to, like, I was to the understanding that only way it could go down through Medicare is if a doctor prescribed the service that they needed. But I was also told that due to, if you need a caregiver, which is a non-skilled person, you could never get a caregiver, a true caregiver, under Medicare. Is that how you heard it? Or
well, with Medicare, they only deal with skilled nursing agencies. So that is factual. So it wouldn't be a caregiver. It would be more of a CNA. Because, you know, which is certified nursing assistant. You know, they do just a little bit more. then you know what I mean, a direct care worker, which is what we have,
We do.
or a home health aide, that is non-skilled, that you don't have to have the licensings or the certifications, in order to perform the services. But with Medicare, yes, it would be a CNA, and it would be a skilled facility. And there are some facilities who do skilled and non-skilled services. So you just have to check into your insurance company for that.
That was the nice way of her telling you no.
You can. It just depends on the agency. It just depends on the agency. So when in doubt, always go back to your insurance company, because your insurance company will tell you. That's why I was saying in the beginning, it's good to be informed, and know what you're working with, and know what benefits, that you have.
And not saying no, but I'm saying true caregiver.
It's more challenging.
Somebody who can give care. Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. And that's why I tell people why we can't use their Medicare to get them a caregiver. Because I'm like, look, only way we could give you a caregiver with Medicare is if the doctor prescribes it, but the doctor will not prescribe unskilled person, especially
correct.
There's some unskilled person in their house.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That is factual.
And I want to let the people know, like, why would Medicaid do that? Well, they would do that because they don't want to put any more money out in the long run. So they try to give you an incentive. Hey, they even do like wellness checks. They even do once a year. They come out, send a doctor to the house, check your vitals.
Sure you're eligible. Yeah.
Make sure you're straight. They do a lot of preventive type stuff. So people be saying, oh, I don't really need that. And this, hey, look, you eligible. You're eligible for a reason, man. You might as well go ahead and tune in.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Keenan Set 4622 #live. Where you watching from, brother, man?
Mr. Keys. How you doing?
He said, how can I possibly get a job with reliable aid? What steps do I need to take? Are you asking for a friend? Are you asking for yourself, sir? What do you have to do to get a job at Reliable Aid?
Well, I would say, first off, if it's a referral, well, whether it's for you or whether it's for a friend, it starts by an application. I know, we switched up some processes in the office as we've grown, and, just doing things in decency and order, processes and protocols, change. So yeah, you need to call in. You can call in, you can get an application online, you can fill it out online, or we can, I think it's an email option, or we've even mailed, the application. But, that is the first step. We are always looking for qualified, healthy, well-rounded, people, to.
I got a question whenever you get a chance.
Yes.
Who are we not looking for? What we looking for is, who we it's only a couple people we not looking for.
Yeah. We are. Well, we are definitely, and we kind of just talked about that about 10 minutes ago. We are not looking for the person who is just in it for a paycheck. We are not looking for, the slothful person.
Before you go any further, I would just want to expand on that. Listen, if we pay you on Thursday and you're expected to be to work on Friday, and all you got to do is come down the steps, and you talking about, oh, I'm too busy today, we are not looking for you.
That part.
Yeah. We're not looking for you. Is any other people you're not looking for?
Yeah, the people that make a lot of excuses, who you are. If you always have an excuse for something, even, you could be a paid caregiver and live in a house with the person and say my car broke down. You ain't even going nowhere.
Ain't going nowhere.
So, if you're one that makes a lot of excuses, if you're the one that has been, job hopping, a lot, because we are looking at your resume. We do call the references.
Remember the young guy that we hired? We was like fresh in, and young guy, he was like maybe 21. We only hired a handful of men. So that's why I'm asking you, do you remember this guy? I don't want to say his name.
Sure.
We was me and him. I don't know if we went somewhere or we did something else, and I kind of had like some one-on-one time with the dude, and you know what he told me? He said, "Yo, man." Now this was probably like summertime, maybe like July. He was like, "Yo, man, I had like 12 jobs this year," and I looked at him and I was like, "Oh man, we not looking for you, man. I didn't know that about you, because you ain't coming to work tomorrow."
Yeah, because what does that tell us? No dedication.
No dedication.
Because and if you didn't do any self-reflection, you're going to blame it on the employer. Oh, they didn't do this.
Oh,
Oh, they didn't do that.
this and that.
But
Yeah.
it
They wanted
always
me to get a
starts with you, y'all. You got to look at yourself first. It is not always the employer. It is not always the other person. So yeah, if your resume is super extensive and not super extensive because you've been at a job a long time and you've gotten a bunch of promotions and did things.
You got more jobs than you got years on your age.
Probably, especially as an adult. Reconsider some things. And that's just reconsidering being a direct care worker in general. You know what I mean? Because it takes diligence, it takes consistency. It takes people to show up. You may not be feeling good, but your client needs you. That's why the insurance company gave them approved hours to have a direct care worker in the first place, because they need help. They can't be helping you.
Is that what you call like reliable? When you show up every day on time?
Yeah. That's what we say. That's what we say. One of our quality coordinators in the office, her motto is, "We just out here being reliable." Hashtag Miss Karen. You know what I mean? Because that's who we are. We are. KC and I are out here being reliable. Glory to God, we haven't had to be reliable in that way in a minute, but we were out there providing care. He's running errands. He's going to the grocery store. I'm in people's houses giving them showers and cleaning up. We're not dictators.
Hold on a second. You said we haven't provided care in a while. You on the job right now, and I'm going to go back to the hospital. What you talking about?
True that part. So we are constant caregivers 24/7, okay? That is factual. So in reliable age specifically, we have not had to, but if a caregiver, especially if it's a non-family member, if a non-family member doesn't show up, then one of us show up. We don't call them and say, "Hey, we don't have nobody for you today." That is not their problem. And I don't believe in making our problems their problems. We show up.
Guess what though? If they call out too much, then what you gonna say?
Not a good fit for the agency.
You gotta do it.
Oh, well, I just had a conversation about that earlier, but absolutely. If you can't be there for the client, and that's why, we don't just hire anybody. Our pool of people may not be as large as some of those really big companies, and we're okay with that, because we're selective. We don't just hire people. We don't just hire bodies. We hire individuals that care, individuals that want to be reliable, individuals that display the mission statement and the qualities, that we look for in a person. We look for them during the interview, because if you don't give them to us in the interview, you're not going to give them to the people in the homes, So again, it starts right here. So absolutely.
How about that? Yep. Our buddy.
I want to open my own caregiver service. What would be? Well, we could talk about that one offline. We do offer a business in a box, So, Mr. KC, that's his niche, so we are definitely happy, to support you, in that endeavor. Sometimes people just look at, or they think that, when I had my, my daycare, they used to look at, oh, wow, she's got 50 something kids, and I don't care, even if it was $1,000 a month, 50, people kind of look at the number, but they don't really look at what goes into the work and behind the scenes to even get to that number. That number doesn't happen overnight. And it takes some of your numbers to even get that number. So I'm saying it takes money to make money. And I'm sure we all know that, but it takes work, to get into that. And you have to be a people person, those qualities and things that you look for in other people, you have to display those same qualities. Those qualities need to be innate in you in order to be part of an effective and productive, agency. So, but yeah, that's something that, you're looking into, before you even get to Medicaid. There's a lot of things that you have to go through, to get licensed within your state, and then get like a regular business license and a state license before you can even get to Medicaid. So again, we do offer a product, called a business in a box, and we can go over the services, what it entails, and the financial legalities and all of that good stuff with you, Mr.
Right
and Mrs. Funny at Animal Clues. We definitely here to help all of y'all.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Hashtag where you at? Where you watching this thing from? Hashtag live, hashtag rebroadcast. You know what I mean? Talk to me. Mr. Sev, who determines if I need a caregiver or not? My insurance or my primary care physician?
I would probably start with the primary care physician, because your insurance company doesn't know what's going on with you, but your primary, primary physician does. So when they're finished, when you get up to the front, they usually what they call a gatekeeper, and the gatekeeper should be like, hey, Dr. Smith said, that, you're going through some things, you're not able to move around, the way that you used to, and you live by yourself. You could probably benefit, from a caregiver. So it definitely starts with a physician.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And the insurance company won't know nothing until the doctor or your physician puts it in.
Yeah.
The insurance company, they take care of us sometimes, but they don't really, like that.
Absolutely. And if you need a caregiver, it's important to don't feel like needing a caregiver is a burden. Don't feel like, oh, I just want to keep trying to do this myself. It's okay to need help. It's okay to ask for help. Everybody needs help, no matter what age and stage of your life. It may be different help, but everybody needs help. So, you have to drop that guard. You have to eat some humble pie, and you need to talk to your physician and say, yes, I need help. Don't answer a question. No, yeah, I can do that when you really can't.
You need it. Or
don't say, yes, I can do that when you can't do that every day. The answer should be, well, I'm finding that, sometimes I need a little bit more help than I used to. Sometimes I'm finding that now when I bend down, I can't really bend down to put my socks on, or I'm having trouble, doing this, that, or the third. Be candid, be I talk about transparency all the time, and y'all will hear that as, you hear me more and more, but it is important, to be transparent, with the people that, are in your life, because the doctors are there to help, and sometimes, and I say it all the time, we can't help fix a problem if we don't know that it exists. You don't want to wait till it's too far gone, because sometimes when we catch it in the beginning, we can fix it, because you can go to therapy, which your caregiver can go to therapy with you. You can do things around the house to increase your activities of daily living, increase your mobility and things like that. So, don't wait, let's tackle that problem sooner than later. Get that help sooner than later. Even when I was in hospice, people be, I don't want a hospice because, you think your loved one is about to pass, or the person themselves think they about to pass. No. My father was actually on and off my hospice service 3 times in 4 years, because he kept getting better. He was at least getting back to his baseline. Right. You know what I mean? So, there is help out there. We are here to help you, so that, you're, you don't have to, prolong, or exacerbate your issues, when you can get some support for them sooner rather than later.
Absolutely. And I want to give you a pro tip for dealing with your doctor. Go to see the doctor regularly. You don't want to need no favor, and you ain't been to see this man in 4 years. You know what I mean? Oh, I need a caregiver. I got Medicaid. Get me in a program. The man don't know you.
Right.
Stay up with your doctor. At least go once a year, even if you don't need nothing. If them co-pays ain't getting paid, then why would he care about you? You know what I mean?
That part, yeah.
You saying, oh, hey, it's only business. You're right, it is only business, but he got a lot of other business going on. So if you want his business to be special, so you can get what you need, go in there and see him drop them co-pays off on him. You got Medicaid. What are co-pays? $10,
If
$5.
that, I don't know. I thought they was zero. Well, they could be prorated, but
Yeah.
and you should be going for your annual physical anyway. You should be getting that annual blood work. Because again, we problem solvers. We want to do preventative care. We want to do those preventative, measures so that now all of a sudden you ain't stage 4 and the life something got going on. Had you been getting those routine checkups, we could have caught some of that, beforehand.
And people love doing things for people that they know. You know what I mean? When I went to school, the number one thing they told me, man, no matter whether you're going to show up to class or not, always make sure the teacher know who you are. So when they going down a roll book, they can give you what you need to get. Because if they don't know you, they're going to call there and say, hey, Director Ivy, Church said he needs something. You say, who?
What?
Oh,
let me look that up. Let me.
Yeah.
I ain't seen his face in a month of Sundays.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's funny. When I was in high school, quick thing. When I was in high school, me and Mr. Brown, he was my biology, teacher. Howard. I was the career center then. You know what I mean? I was a real wildcat. But I didn't always go to class. But I always showed up for the test, and I might walk past his class at some other point and still be like, hey, Mr. Brown, I hope all is well. Ivy, I didn't see you today. But in my mind, I'm like, but you're going to see me for that test, So I still, you want to keep yourself fresh in people's mind. In any situation, but definitely, with your physician, because they're documenting the notes and all of that. And, they can go back and say, oh, yeah, they told me they were struggling with that a little bit, and now they, feel like they need a little bit more help because they go back in their notes, too, before they come in the office and see you, so because they want to follow up, with something. They don't necessarily want to follow up with something from a year ago, is rather 6 months, so just stay. And now they have all that technology, those hospital doctor patient portals and, all of that kind of stuff. So you can throw things in there, you don't even got to go to the doctor. You can chat with them, throw it in there and they'll reply back to you, so again, use the tools, utilize the tools that you have, because it's only going to enhance your life and just make your overall living, a little more easier.
Yep.
Which is when you get with reliable aid, that's what you also get.
Funny Animal Clue says, how can
he wants to get in contact with you about the consultation.
My eyes is like,
Mr. KC.
You want to keep it all like that, then if I blow it up, I can't see the comments, so I gotta. They think I can't read. It's all right.
That's the robot. I can read them for you, because we're a team. We work together.
Okay.
So at Funny Animal Clues wants to know how to get in contact with you regarding consultation.
It's easy. You want my email? KC@reliableaidinc.org. KC@reliableaidinc.org. Hey, Miss Ludia, can you put that on the screen for a hot second for us? Yeah, all you got to do is reach out to me, man. We'll help you get started up, help you credentialize with them insurance companies, so you can start getting them checks coming in, help you set up that payroll, I got some people who get you that business funding. We got the whole back office to do that, the billing. What other headaches would a potential business agency owner have? What else?
I think the credentialing, is a big thing, and then obviously, marketing, and then, billing, because everything else, when you have good people, when you're leading by example, really a lot of times, even with the marketing, it sells itself. We've gotten a lot of business through, just Mr. KC and being on this platform and, seeing them out, in the streets, so self-marketing, is a big thing because, you really don't want nobody to speak for you. You want to speak for yourself. You want, the work to speak for itself. You want the reviews to speak for yourself. Google reviews, look at our reviews. We get great reviews because, we are really here, for people. But, definitely getting the credentialing started, maybe some marketing and billing, can be a headache. But when you have a good team behind you, it minimizes those things. And because we've already been through it, now that's why, we can help y'all, because, y'all may not have the headaches that, that we had, you know what I mean? Because we done already been through it and figured it out, and from a spiritual perspective, that's why God puts people in your path, you know what I mean? Because they've already been through it. So now they're here, to help you to make it a little more simplistic, kind of like paying it forward, so to speak. And then when you get it, then you can pay it forward to somebody else.
I was going to ask you, what about that one bad review you had where the lady said you paid her early and then you paid her without paying her through a check? And remember that? I said, okay, what's she mad about? We paid early and we didn't give her a check. Like, what are you mad about?
Yeah. And sometimes, when you're trying to do a good thing for people, it can tend to, to bite you, but those are the things that, what I mean, we learn from. I am a firm believer. I don't believe in jacking up people's paycheck. Ain't nothing like, somebody not getting a paycheck, which has never been an issue, here, at Reliable Aid, but, it's important. And it's important to get the paycheck, on time. So, if I can see in the back office that we may have an issue or, somebody's checked in process, then let me give you, I feel like I'm doing you, a good thing. Let me give you another form of payment because I want to make sure you get your check because people got bills. People got life, we always say life is life. And so I didn't want to hold nobody up, but, okay, but then maybe, I shouldn't have, but those are the things that we learn from, so, first time, shame on you. Second time, shame on me, but, we don't believe in making the same mistake twice.
Right. And we're gonna wrap it up soon. I told him we'll give Melissa an hour. That's why I'm just dragging it on. But is anything you want to tell the people? Any plans you got for 26? Anything we should be looking for from the most fabulous Director Ivy? I mean, tell them about that award that you got for having the 9 million pairs of shoes. I mean, let them know something about you.
Yes. Well, part of me. I am the same person. You're always going to get the same person on the inside as you do on the outside. I believe in transparency. I have some extensive things, so I got an award. Actually, I was nominated in the News Journal, here in Delaware.
That's the Delaware paper, y'all. Y'all not
Delaware Online. I think it was like 2011. It was, but I was still in hospice then, and one of the nurses, nominated me for the style files, section, indicating that I never wear the same thing twice, which is that's factual too, but that I'm always so well put together, and again, that's because of what's in me on the inside. So, when you see me, it's definitely, what you see is what you get, but I love to dress, it's important for, people to see you for who you really are. And, the first thing they see before anything comes out of your mouth is your appearance, so when I was in hospice, I was a CNA manager. And then, for like 8 years, I had like 60 CNAs underneath of me. And, we did what we did. Then I got promoted to a marketing director. So now I'm out in all the nursing homes. And now my job is to bring people in, and, the first thing they would see was, oh, wow, that lady is so pretty. That lady is so well dressed, so, they want to just come on over and talk to me, because either my necklace or my shoes or something is a conversation starter. Then it's, what do you do? Then, I'm a marketing rep, I talk about, the importance of hospice, this, that, and the third. So, and it draws people in. So your appearance is important. So, I got nominated, I got an award, even Mr. Casey has given me a Director of the Year award, so, I try to be the best that, I can be personally, and professionally, because it does make a difference. It definitely makes a difference. So, and I've always been a caregiver. I've taken care of both of my parents, before God called them home. My father had a long history of strokes, and he passed in 2013, and 2 weeks before he passed away, I found out that my mother had stage 4 ovarian cancer. So taking care of him, taking care of her, taking care of life. I had the daycare then. I was still working at hospice full time. So I had a family. So yeah, I was doing the most, but I've always been a caregiver. I love being a caregiver. I love helping people. I love making a difference in people's lives.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Where do you think you may have been the most impactful helping people? Because you got such a stretch of like years of helping. Do you think it was the kids, like the daycare? Do you think it was hospice, or do you think it's caregivers, non-medical caregivers? Where do you? And then tell me after that. Tell me which one spoke to you the most, because it might be different. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
I only help people in this realm, so I'm just
right. Yeah, and I think it depends on the audience really that you're helping. How impactful you can be. Even in the daycare, it wasn't just about helping the parents, but because I had a home daycare and then I had a building, but in the home daycare, it was more personable. And I felt like I was actually helping the parents just as much as I was helping the kids, because I was helping structure. I was really helping. I was very hands-on with the upbringing of their children, and what they were learning from me in my daycare at home, they were taking home, and then the parents could follow that structure. So in that setting, I was helping both people. In hospice, which I think was most impactful, for me, because I learned so much. I learned how to take care of other people. I learned how to manage people, because prior to that, I'd never managed 60 people before, and I came into it managing 60 people and creating a whole new format of how to manage these people, because the person before me, my predecessor, wasn't doing a good job of it. So I'm like, whoo, boy, this is new for me. So actually, my sister here, who, I'm currently, I'm providing some support for now. She was actually even instrumental in helping me, like, all right, girl, we need to do this, this, and this. But hospice showed me how to manage people. It showed me how to develop more patience and understanding, and really listening, to the person, not just thinking what you need, you thinking what they need, but understanding and hearing from them what they actually need. It helped me to take care of my parents when their time came around, and all of that combined has gotten us to where we are today in this home care agency. It has really helped me to be extremely well-rounded, in every aspect, business and personal, so absolutely. Absolutely.
That was cool. I know them kids used to love you.
Yeah. And you know what? But you got to have the balance. And I loved on them, but if they needed to get it, they got it too. If the parents needed to get it, you know what I mean? Like, hey, why aren't you doing this? You know what I mean? For your kid, you need to follow this same protocol, at home. Because that's the only way they're going to get it. Repetition, is the key. Absolutely.
That's right.
But yeah.
I'm sorry.
The email. Yeah.
Hey, Miss Ludia, can you put that email on the screen?
But it is
KC@reliableaid.org.
Yep. KC@reliableaidinc.org. I'm gonna take a sip of water in my Eagles cup, y'all.
You can go ahead and drink as much as you want out of that Beagles cup. That's cool. It's yours. Green jerseys around here.
I mean, I know you got a green jersey. I'm down with you. I can rock with them too. I ain't partial. I'm a football fan, so hey.
I thought I was going to have to talk dirty to you like the rest of these Eagles fans real fast. Hold on a second.
Uh-oh. Tracy said, "What's up, KY?" I think she meant KC. That's
No, he
Tracy.
mean Kai. He
Oh,
said,
okay.
he called
Oh,
me
Kai.
Kai.
He called you Kai.
Yeah, he
Okay.
called me Kai.
Okay.
What's up,
All
Tracy?
right.
I think this my homeboy from Pennsylvania, man. We used to be in this gold opportunity together, man. That's my buddy from way back.
That one that you got me into too, boy. I tell you,
We-
Mr. K said,
we-
yeah,
yeah. Well,
yes.
I don't know, for some strange reason you trust me. You know what I mean? Trace, you're in Dallas, huh? We got some friends in Dallas, don't we?
Yeah, absolutely. I absolutely do.
Our Blade is in Dallas. We not operating, but we in Dallas.
Yeah, straight up. And you never know. Y'all never know where you're gonna find us soon.
Yeah.
Okay, it could be a location here, location there,
Yeah.
but you will see, director. I might have to change my name, y'all. I gotta figure it out, because I'm changing roles and things here, and so I'm gonna have to
okay.
out, but,
Well, we're gonna find one that fit. I don't know if you're gonna be able to shake Director Ivy.
I know. Yeah, so I don't know. We might have to come up with something for the other one, in the office. But yeah, absolutely. But definitely stay tuned, y'all. We are onward and upward. We are always growing. We are always looking to fine tune things, to improve our community relationships. So okay, North Dakota, we learned a lot.
Yeah, absolutely.
But continue to look for some good stuff, from Director Ivy. If there's a certain topic, that you'd like me to share or talk about, definitely. How do they go about that? I mean, if you're on now, you can, you can put it in the chat. Rebroadcast. My email is my email is director@reliable8inc.org. So you can email me.
I don't know why you did that. I don't know why he's gonna. I don't know why you did. Now when it's flooded, that's your fault. Don't be bothering me. I mean, hey, I told you.
Well, they just gonna keep me busy, I guess. If I ain't got a topic, somebody gonna make sure I have one. So
I was absolutely contact us by phone 302-689-3240, 302-689-3240. Hey, like Mr. K said, William Penman said one more time for the slow people. 302-689-3240. Call us. I don't know. Can you text? You can't text it since we got this new carrier. Used to could text.
Oh, okay.
We're gonna get that back. We talked about that today.
Okay.
We're gonna get that back.
Absolutely.
I like that.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I appreciate everybody tuning in. I appreciate all the great questions. We always welcome feedback, and look forward to seeing me again on Monday at noon.
Absolutely. Hey, Monday.
Yeah.
What day?
Monday. Today is Friday, right?
Yeah, what's after Friday?
Saturday. All right.
Man, we can see you on Saturday. That'd be lovely.
See you on Saturday. See you on Saturday.
Hey, that's
I don't know about the Sabbath day. We might might not be at 12 because I'll be in church. But
right. Well, we ain't gonna
tomorrow.
look for you till Monday. We ain't gonna look for you. I just want to see what you was going. It was a commitment check.
Well, I appreciate the clarification, brother, because daily I'm thinking Monday through Friday.
Yeah, that's daily.
Yeah. Absolutely. But y'all never know, you never know where you're gonna find Director Ivy, see Director Ivy, what time zone Director Ivy might be in, but at the end of the day, I'm gonna be here because I'm always gonna be here for y'all.
Absolutely. And I just like to tell the people, before we leave, don't let anybody shame or blame you into thinking that taking care of somebody other than yourself is bad business. Listen, I don't know how you gonna get up top if you ain't looking out for somebody other than yourself. That's just
self-care. Self-care, that part. Yeah.
So you got anything you want to say before we get out of here?
Nope, but I just love you guys. Ones that I know, ones that I don't know. Again, I appreciate you tuning in. I look forward to you always tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe. If you haven't subscribed, hashtag live, hashtag rebroadcast. We want to know what's going on because we're interested in y'all too. So y'all stay safe and blessed.
I ain't going to hold us too long. Brother Tracy said, what we got cooking over there, man? We got all kind of good in-home healthcare stuff going on. Do yourself a favor, rewind this video all the way back. Catch us on YouTube, however you catching this, man, and holler at me, man. Good to see y'all. I love you. We out.
Yes.
Peace.